Broadcasting live from sunny South Florida, and the best way to start your Saturday. This is KMA Talk Radio, life, liberty, and the pursuit of fine cigars. And now your KMA crew. The man with the scoop, William Cooper. Alex the Goat Tavella. And always telling it like it is, Honest Abe Dababneh.
I like to smoke them like the Winston Churchill. Like John Kennedy, yeah. Remember Coach Red Auerbach, smoked up for victory, yeah. Well, you can take my wife, you can take my car, but you can't take my big cigar. My cigar.
Good morning, folks, and welcome to KMA Talk Radio. This is episode 580. We are marching closer and closer to 600. Like I said last week, we have a rule. If you see me, either Abe's not here or Abe's having technical difficulties. Unfortunately, Abe had some unforeseen events going on in Chicago. He wasn't able to make it this morning, but the rest of the crew is here to hold you guys down. Starting first, my dear friend and trusted cohort, the man who always has the scoop, rumor, and teaser free, William Cooper.
Good morning, Alex.
Sir.
Yep, good morning.
Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. And our dear friend, who smokes more than Johnny smokes? Johnny smokes himself. Good morning, Johnny.
What's up, everybody?
Guy, man.
Hanging in the den.
Hanging in the den. A little Christmas light action. I like. It's not even. You know what's interesting? You know, I like this because it's not even cold outside, and you're still in the den. You know, I figure normally the den is reserved for, but it's good for broadcasting too. It's
probably in the 50, high 50s, low 60s up here, so a little chilly.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah, I think It's like 60 degrees right now. It went down big time.
We've had a cool spell in the Mid-Atlantic. It's been definitely a cooler start this year than I remember to the late spring, early summer season.
Interesting. I feel we got summer. We went from, beautiful Florida weather to full-blown summer.
I mean, today it will be a little warm, but even like I said, we haven't had those. We normally have some 90-degree days by
right. Some of those summer days by now, right? Memorial Day.
Yeah.
63 in lovely Whitehall, Pennsylvania.
63. Yeah, it's funny because 63 down here, you may see some folks walking around with a scarf on in the mall in South Florida.
Rafael Nadal retreats to the heat. I mean, when that happens.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he's under 70, he doesn't do well.
Yeah. He gets a little closer to the equator. When it's under 70.
Yeah.
So, gentlemen, Father's Day weekend. Happy Father's Day. Happy Father's Day to all our listeners out there.
Everybody.
Happy Father's Day weekend.
Yeah.
Hope everybody, gets to enjoy themselves this weekend. You guys got any plans? Anything going on?
No, not really. I might go see my daughter tomorrow, but I know she has his parents coming in, so she wanted me to try to get there. Maybe I'll go there later today. I don't know. We don't do a group thing. I don't know what the hell it is.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Family time. What about you, Cooper?
Well, I always like my time home, and I actually want my time alone, right? So I don't mind it. So there's no plans, which is in the daytime, which is good. One of my kids, he just moved to Columbus, Ohio. He graduated the air traffic control school, so he's in the middle of the move, so he's not gonna be here this weekend. But nice. Father's Day night's gonna be interesting because we are gonna be smoking the Asylum Megalophobia.
That's Sunday night? Is that Sunday night?
It's Sunday night, and the reason why it's happening on Father's Day is it's Bear's show and Trip's show. So they both do their shows on Sundays, right?
Right.
Now Bear has had Tom Lazuka on his Father's Day show every year. They've done it. So Bear cooked up this scheme to try to smoke the cigar. And he said, well, as long as we may need 2 shows to do it. Tom agreed to surprisingly do. I don't know if Tom's gonna be there for this first show, but it sounds like he's gonna be at least on both shows. So I have the cigar in possession. I don't know how I'm gonna cut it. I mean, that's the big thing.
When you say both shows, what do you mean?
So we have two shows. Trip does the Let's Get Pairing show at 8 o'clock.
Gotcha.
And then Bear show is on at 10:30. It's a late show. So we're gonna go.
Just gonna roll. We're gonna just marathon into another show. With
exactly. Yeah, exactly. So they just came up with the idea of doing both. Like instead of doing it on one show, they're gonna literally switch it. I think there's still maybe one recording. I'm not sure, but we'll figure that out.
I like that. And that cigar's what? 10 by
134.
10 by 134.
I look. I'm a big ring gauge guy. There's no secrets about that. I've smoked the 90 by Asylum, and that's too big. I don't know how I'm gonna cut this cigar. The cutter will not cut this cap off. I'm gonna have to use a knife. I'm not one of these knife guys who has all these spectacular knives. I do have something I think that will cut it. But
what's the name of the cigar again, Coop?
Megalophobia, the fear of big things. Yep. So,
if I'm not mistaken, the guy Sean at New Tobacco Village, Lena's shop, from what Tom Lazuka said, I think he was the first one to attack this thing. He smoked it, took him 8 hours. And he said after that, he was hurting. He was hurting.
I'm sure.
So I don't know.
I'm looking at it. The tough part too is it doesn't have like that Aganorsa. At least it has that little taper. You can actually get some kind of cut. Like this doesn't even have a taper. Yeah. You're going big.
Yeah, I have the cigar. It's wrapped in foam and everything in a humidified bag. I don't even want to touch it because I'm worried about damaging it because I only have one. But I'm going to take some pictures of it before the show. And it's big. So I'm just gonna tell you.
Sadly, you can't put a picture up that makes sense of how big the cigar actually is.
You can't. If you watch, I think on the video that we shot at PCA, you can see Tom Lazuka holding it, and I took some photos with it in my hand as well. So, but I think Tom was holding that. Like the picture, I think one of the pictures I used for the promo, you see a couple fingers on it. That's Tom's fingers, actually.
Right.
So,
okay. Yes.
Yeah. So, it's interesting because I actually think this is going to screw up my review schedule. And I thought about this morning. I'm going to have to readjust some of the reviews because I schedule out what I'm going to smoke, right?
For the week.
Coming up for reviews.
Right.
This is probably going to wreck some havoc on it for a couple of days. So
you may need a day or two to recover your palate. Let your mouth. Honestly.
Yeah. So there's going to be some adjustments done to that. Yeah. I don't know.
If you had a Monday review schedule, it's probably not the day.
Well, I have something for Monday, but what I'd be doing would affect like next week. So I got to kind of look at that. So it's a problem I have to solve actually. So don't know how I'm going to do it, but we'll figure it out.
I can't wait to see this.
If anyone actually watches the whole thing, I mean, but I mean, I would say catch the earlier ones because who knows what happens with that cigar.
Right.
A couple of the guys on the Coop team, Ben, like, I ain't doing it. He's like, a couple of guys punted. Bear, who's one of these Lancero guys, he gets gaga over a Lancero. It was his idea to do this. Yeah. So
all right, so he's going way out.
And the best thing is when someone on the team comes up with something, like run with it because I don't have to deal with planning it.
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So let them do it on your shows. I'm fine because I didn't want to have to get. And I got to give Bear and Lazuka credit. They got everyone the cigars, so because they're not out yet. So we had to get
right.
Yeah, but they wanted to time it with the Father's Day show, so.
Oh my God! No, not me. I won't try.
Good on them. No, that's a big undertaking. The problem with those type of cigars too is especially if the draw is right. I mean, the smallest of draws is just with a 134 ring gauge. It's not like you can take big draws, so that thing could last forever.
Yeah, it is. It's exactly the case. And look, I'll say this. The 90 wasn't a bad cigar. It was just a little big in the mouth is the problem, right? The 100 cigar that Aganorsa did was not a bad cigar, but I did have some construction issues each time I smoked it. So that's just that. It's handmade product's going to happen sometimes. So I'm not knocking it, but I mean, this could happen if the construction unravels on this show tomorrow. I don't know what to say, That's why I'm a little worried about.
I get it. Yeah, but hey, Tom, listen, credit to Tom. He's willing to take that risk live on air.
He was willing to take that risk, yeah. And I don't think he's expecting us to say this is the greatest cigar of the year either. So, I don't. And Tom's a really good guy, so I think, and you can always give honest feedback with him. So I'm not worried about that part. Obviously I don't want anything to go wrong either.
John, what's the biggest cigar you ever smoked? Everybody out there, tell me too. What's the biggest cigar you guys ever smoked?
Yeah, mine's just one of the Lunatics, like the 8x80. I tried once, and just once, wouldn't do it again. And no, I just it's not for me. Nope. It was good. Don't get me wrong. Right. The tobacco was good, but it's just like after a while, you're like, oh my god.
Right. You just kind of say, I took down a Woody once. Most of a Woody. Problem with that cigar is it's just so long that the amount of draw intake you need to suck in to get some smoke is, that cigar's got to go through a lot of cigar to get smoke to you. You know, so it's it was a job. It's a job smoking those kind of cigars, but that's part of it.
Yeah, it's definitely. I think when you get, I think when you start getting above 70, they are more novelty cigars at that point. They're not everyday cigars, for sure, because you can't make a commitment to smoke that amount of tobacco. So I see a lot of guys when they start out, they want to go 60, 70, right? Because and there are some very good 60, 70 cigars. I'm not gonna lie, but what happens is they realize the time commitment's not there. So they'll dial it back maybe to a Toro Grande, and then they kind of say, "Wow, you know what? This is actually better in this size in a lot of cases." So I see that happen with a lot of new smokers. They start big, but then they kind of come down.
Yeah,
sure.
I think you're right. Yeah, I think you're right, Coop, because a lot of times also if they're getting into, I think it's more bang for their buck they're looking for. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like, oh, I want to go big. I'm gonna spend a couple bucks on this, and then, like you said, next thing you know, they're fucking like, "Oh dear Lord!"
I need 4 hours every day to smoke this, and
right.
Yeah, you can't do it. There's no possible way to do it.
Yeah, no, it is. Some of those cigars are tough, but like you said, once you start getting in those, them giant ring gate sizes, it's gimmicky, but it's fun. Sometimes, listen, there's nothing wrong with a gimmick. It's a fun gimmick. It's what you guys are doing is exactly what I see this kind of cigar is. It's, hey, let's get 3-4 guys and see if we can actually take this thing down in a night. It's a,
what? If it's getting people smoking, talking about cigars, it's not a bad thing. And I don't think there's any illusions that this is going to be a cigar that is a regular smoke. It's kind of a one-off type of project, is what it's going to be.
Yeah,
absolutely. But that's fine. And listen, those guys are known for their big and wild and different. So this fits right up in that asylum alley, and this should be fun to watch. I think I'm going to tune in for a little bit. See you guys try to suck this thing down.
It's going to be interesting. I can't wait to see this.
Good luck to us.
What are you guys smoking now? If you don't mind me asking, what are you guys smoking now?
I'm smoking my morning Wawa coffee, Bellas Artis.
Nice.
It is what it is. It's never gonna knock my socks off, but I know what I'm getting every time. It's my Wawa coffee. What about you, Cooper?
Well, Flag Day today, so I went with a Pledge of Allegiance. This is the 2024 Toro box press. I'll be honest, I thought the 23 was the better cigar, but not a bad cigar by any means. And I figured it was Flag Day to do something appropriate.
Sure, very nice, very nice.
And of course, I went
for the day.
Knuckle Sandwich Puro.
Great cigar.
I love it. And this is a hit. I think they're out getting out now, I think, aren't they? Coop?
Yeah.
I think they're circulating as we speak, which I can't wait.
When I was down, well, you were at Lozona-Palooza, right? Or no?
Yep.
Okay, you were. Yes, that's why. They gave those out. That was the one they gave out, and it was a massive hit. Massive hit. They had no more. Like, they had a set number of these, and that was it. So if you had to get it that day, and I thought it was. I knew it was going to be a big hit when they did it.
Mm-hmm. But it didn't have the Puro band on it, though. It was just
right. They didn't even have a name. They were calling it the Oscuro back then. They didn't even have the name for it yet. And I think they opted to call it Puro Nicaragua is what they did.
Yep. Nice and tasty.
Nice.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be a big.
tasty.
I think that's gonna be a big hit for them, and that's a regular production line too.
Yeah.
Which is so I think that's gonna help as well.
He's got a lot going on this week. He's got a lot. It's got a lot dropping, right? Eric says having a busy week. No, or when is that? Is that out yet, Johnny? No?
I didn't really get a notice that these things were shipped. You know how I found out they were shipped? Smoke In. And so they dropped, but they didn't really announce. Like, we get these now shipped, and there's a couple of now shippings I have in the news, right? But we don't get them all. We don't chase them down either. It's up to really the company if they want to make an announcement on it. But I guess with a cigar like that, you can drop it and it's going to sell. You know what I mean? So
yeah, I mean, we were hoping it was going to be out last week. I'm sure people on here saw that Lena has owned the shop as of June 1st, 10 years. It was her 10-year anniversary.
Oh, congratulations!
New Tobacco Village. So she was hoping we had on the 7th, we had a big shindig, and we were hoping and praying they were going to be out, and they were not. But they, from what Rami was saying, he goes, they're going to be out next week. So that's this week here. Looking forward to it, because this is the last one I have from PCA. So I wanted to do something special. I wanted to smoke something special because I'm on here with you two guys. You know what I mean?
There you go.
Thank you, Johnny.
Thank
you, Johnny.
Yeah.
He's got. That's what we got. We got that. It's what Warhead, Chef Special, Knuckle Sandwich. It's got a lot going on this week, huh?
Yeah, and there's more Warheads dropping. I think it was just the Independence Day one that shipped. It wasn't the 11 still hasn't shipped yet.
Right.
Those one is in the they have those other Warheads that are all coming out in the bomb boxes. So I think they're still to come.
John Rain, that's one of my favorite releases, limited releases from them guys.
I think. Yeah, they did. I think that one's going away from what I heard.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not coming back. I should say.
I could see that. I could see that. That was a good Connecticut, though. I liked it. I think it was, if I remember, it was a Connecticut.
It was a light. Yeah, it was definitely.
Yeah, it was definitely a lighter cigar. No, that was I liked that cigar. Fumado in C major. Oh, Alan's smoking a Trinidad Series 3 for a change.
Wow, it's a shock.
I know he's consistent. I give him that.
He got those in bulk or something. Or
he fires them up early too. He doesn't care. 10 a.m.
The Trinidad number 3 is the best of the series that I had.
I agree.
By far. I mean, they're all good, but I'm just saying that number 3 was really good. Yeah.
Cool. What do you think of the Miami?
I haven't smoked the Miami.
I was just going to ask that if anybody got their hands on it yet.
I did. I finally got to smoke it last month, and I did it when we were doing the interview with Raphael. I said I saved this for. It was very good. It was very good.
Yeah, they were out of them by the time we got, because we went to the booth much later. So they were out of those from what I remember. I did get my hands on the H. Upman, La Providencia. I have that one, and that's really good.
What about the one we were talking about last night? The 150 was unbelievable.
Romeo?
Also. Yeah, they had a lot.
I have one of those in my humidor. I haven't smoked that yet.
Yeah, I think it's really good. I think it was definitely a special cigar for sure. Yeah. I had one. I actually got to smoke that Pro cigar, and I knew how good it was. So, people went for it. It's a little different than some of the other Romeos, is what I'll say. So it's not going to smoke like a traditional Romeo, but it was good. Sure. Yeah.
I mean, listen, they've been doing very well. Even look, the Monte Cristo M was a huge surprise to me. That cigar, I was expecting typical, beefed up, classed up, white label, and it was a lot more than that, man. That Monte Cristo M was a cigar that packed a nice punch.
That was amazing stick. You every time I talk to somebody about that, nothing but raves. That it's and I smoked it, and I was just like, it's really good.
Yeah, our team, we do a vote after the show on best company of the trade show, who has the best unveiling of the product, and then the best booth design. Altadis won both this year, and they had a great lineup of products. But I thought the booth design was incredible. They did this kind of like Romeo, who you had a booth within a booth. And you went in there, and they had this interactive display where you can learn about the whole history of the Romeo and Julieta brand. They had that humidor, that one, the hydraulics, the ones that they have a limited edition Romeo 150 humidor, and you kind of on hydraulics, it kind of raises the humidor. It's incredible.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. They did a really good job out to this year at the trade show.
They do good work, man. They really do.
Yeah,
good work.
They do.
I wonder where our friend Raphael is. We haven't heard from him yet, so he's probably not in Miami. It's usually a good tell.
He's been traveling. He's been doing a lot.
He was just up here on Thursday, up Best Cigar Pub. And,
listen, Thursday to Saturday, Raphael could be anywhere in the world.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, several dinners, and you could have.
Oh yeah. Raphael gets around. That's a life. That's a life to mimic for sure.
Oh my goodness! If you want to be Raphael and John and I have both been to Raphael's residence,
yes,
by the beach, and that's another experience entirely.
Oh, I'm sure. Good.
John, did you smoke in the house or no?
Yeah, he let us smoke in the house because when we were downstairs outside eating, we were special enough that we got La Boheme before it was released. So then we went upstairs and had a drink, and and he played the piano. We were smoking. Yep. We got the view. Oh my God! So
did you go to the cigar lounge he has in the building? There's a cigar lounge. That is really cool. That place.
Oh my God! And everyone has their own humidor.
Yeah.
And then you could sit there and watch TV. He goes, I sit down here and watch, the fights, a game, whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why would you leave your house and go anywhere in the world?
Yeah. So in this apartment building, Alex, you go downstairs. There is a cigar lounge. Like literally, it's just private lounge.
A resident cigar lounge.
A resident cigar lounge. Yeah.
Wow. Really?
Yeah.
Well, they got the cigar lounge. They got the wine room.
Yeah.
The wine room is amazing.
Yeah.
And the fitness plate.
Yeah. Plus, Raphael has a cabana. He has a cabana where he has another cigar stash so he's at this beach stash. Yeah.
It almost makes you wonder, a guy like Raphael, did he go to the board and be like, hey, man, you guys got this office room nobody uses. Can we, what do you guys think about convert? I could see. Wine cellar. I never seen
Well, Raphael didn't ask. Raphael told them. He probably told them what they were going to do. He's like, yeah, you know what you're going to do, my friend? You're going to put this room in here, line it up with this. And he goes, when it's done, I'll be in there. And
that or it was an office and somebody came down and Raphael was in there smoking one day. And they said, Raphael, I guess it's a cigar lounge now.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Good for him.
Yeah, good for him. It's
let me ask you a question, you guys. Sports guys, right? Get a little sports talk. Abe's not here. NBA Finals. Is it me or are they playing games once a week? What is going on? Are they trying to? I feel like games are once a week. You get one Finals game a week.
They've spread them out for sure.
Insanely spread them out.
Yeah, and NHL's done the same thing. The NHL's even been more spread out, I think, than it's 2 to 3 days breaks in between these games.
Whether it's a home, same arena or not, it's travel breaks. They're just taking 2-3 day breaks.
Yeah, and they're not doing a good job with weekend games, in my opinion. They should have Saturday. They should have Saturday and Sunday games. In both of these, I don't know why they don't, but that's what they're doing.
Yeah, man. I just every time I turn around because I'm not really followed Pacers and Thunder doesn't excite me too much, but every time I look, when's the next game? Oh, it's So we got a game. Monday.
Right. There's no games over the weekend. That's what I'm saying.
No games over the weekend.
Who's scheduled the next
game? The next finals game after Monday is Thursday.
Yeah. 3 days.
And then if there's a game 7, it's on Sunday. What a
I know there's travel between Indianapolis and Oklahoma City. It ain't that far. It ain't like
far.
Edmonton and Miami is. I'm just saying with the hockey.
Did they change the structure? Is it one game each place?
No, it's 2-2, 1-1-1. Yeah.
Right, and they're still putting 3 days between games when guys aren't even traveling.
Right. But there was always an NBA final on Father's Day, if you think about that. How is there not a game on? And Sunday I would think it's a bigger night. I don't know. I don't get the schedule
on a Father's Day, right? Especially considering you're putting on a Monday 8:30 game. You should have made that a Father's Day Sunday game. You would.
And they don't need. These guys don't need 3 days in between games. I'm sorry, they don't need 3 games in between games for travel. That's the hockey. I get it a little more. Those cities are very far apart. That's further than a transcontinental flight.
Yeah, so Oklahoma City, like you said, Indiana, that ain't far.
You want to give them a day off? That's fine. You don't need 3 days off. That's how much are we going to coddle these guys with? They're making more money, right, than I'll ever see in my lifetime. You can play on it. I'm sorry, you don't need. You play. I'm sorry, you play.
You play.
Yeah.
You play. I said it before. We all owe Allen Iverson an apology. We ragged on him for missing practice, but this guy played every single game, injured or not, he could. Nowadays, guys don't even have to play games, let alone practice.
Yeah. It's interesting. I'm seeing Iverson's legacy, start to get cemented now. Like I said, there were a lot of people who would crap on him back then, and probably I was one of them. But I'm seeing his legacy in Philadelphia start to get cemented a lot more now.
Yeah, I think he's one of those guys that had a lot of bullshit with him outside of the game. He kept bad crowds, got a little bit of trouble. He didn't, he had a gambler degenerate, banned from casinos, basically would have been broke if not for the one friend who set his life. So he had a lot of bullshit. And I feel like in the near time, just retire, that kind of bullshit still affects your legacy a little bit. As time goes past, it's okay, regardless of the bullshit, this is Allen Iverson on the court is what we have in his legacy. And you kind of get past all the bullshit and you can see him for what he is. And then, guys like that maybe take a little longer to get their accolades because you kind of got to get past the bullshit. And it's rightfully so for a guy like Allen Iverson. I mean, as a guy who changed the league, he changed the look of the league for better or worse, however you feel about it. He changed the way guys play. And even today, he's still, one of the top little men ever to step on a basketball court who played like a big man. So obviously Philly Sixers. So I'm partial, but how do you not love the grit of Allen Iverson?
And I see a lot of minutes played, right? And this has been a big issue in New York with the Knicks coach, right? Go look at how many minutes Allen Iverson played on the court for the Sixers. Go look at his stats. 42 minutes a game.
Yeah, 42. I was going to say 42.
And these guys, and Thibodeau's running these guys who are, I laugh at when I hear that. These guys, Iverson did what he was supposed to do. I think there was 1 year. I'm looking at this. 43.1 minutes he had 1 year per game. That's incredible. Right. Right. That's, these guys, I mean, well.
And for those who don't understand, the game is 48 minutes.
48 minutes, yeah. Now I hear 33 minutes. Oh, he's playing too much.
Right. So this guy would take 5 minutes off an entire game.
And you go into now go look. This is the other thing. Go look at Iverson's playoff stats. His career, he averaged 45 minutes a game in the playoffs. You play more in the playoffs. You don't. This idea that again, Thibodeau coached the Knicks so well with that bench. I mean, with the starters rather. He didn't need to go to the bench. Is what I'm saying. And that's what I mean. These guys would play a lot of minutes. The game is so much changed right now. And again, Iverson missed practice, but you know what? He was on the court all those minutes.
And that's an average. That's an average 43 minutes because there's plenty of 48-minute Allen Iverson games out there too where he didn't step off the court. Yeah, because he had to be out there.
These guys are making millions of dollars. They don't need to be coddled. No, and that Knicks coaching situation is a mess right now. I grew up in New York, Alex. The only other backlash I've seen on a coach or manager getting fired was Buck Showalter with the Yankees. Where people were like, they hired Joe Torre. This is a joke. I mean, it turned out it worked out, but there was a huge backlash when the Yankees fired Buck because Buck did the same thing to the Yankees as Thibodeau did to the Knicks. He took him out of the dungeon and kind of got him to the next level.
Right. Where are we at in the hockey finals? I know Florida's in, but I'm not really. I haven't.
2-2. Yeah. Oh, they collapsed on a very tired Edmonton team. Edmonton looked spent in that game, and they collapsed Florida.
So let me ask you a question. Just thinking in the same terms of with this basketball, how guys aren't playing and whatnot. How do you feel about this with Major League pitchers as well? Those guys aren't playing complete games. I think like 100 pitches and you're out, even close to it.
I don't know. It's an investment for some of these pitchers. I guess that's the way they're looking at Bucks. It's an investment. You know what I mean? But like you said, I'm older than Coop. I think am I older than you or younger than you? I don't know how old are you?
57.
I'm older than you.
Oh wow!
So
Wow.
yeah,
Okay.
I'll be 59 June 20th.
Okay.
So I remember back in the day with the Seavers and the Carltons, you know, guys like that, they pitched. And my dad used to say the same thing. He goes, you know, this middle reliever bullshit sucks. And who knows? Is that hurting? Is it helping? Are they pitching where they're not pitching enough, where it's making their arms stale? Who knows? I don't know.
Right. I mean, in that situation, I can kind of see both sides. You know, I'm sure. Look, you know, that's 100 pitches a game consistently. That's a lot on your elbow. You know, I'm sure we're saving some elbows for guys and shoulders and you know, surgeries. Yeah. I get it, but sometimes it sucks, man. Sometimes it sucks when a guy's really throwing heat, man, and you see him get taken out of the game because of his pitch count. You know, not because of his performance. It kind of sucks, but again, I do get it. This is the only thing these guys do is use their arm to throw the ball towards home plate.
Well, how far are we into this? I mean, we're into the season a little bit, and the Mets finally had what is it? Peterson finally, he's the first pitched a full 9 innings.
I mean,
so,
yeah, this
a complete game.
I get that. I think these guys throw harder is a lot of the reason now too.
True,
and because you throw harder, it does take a toll. The interesting thing is, I look at the other end of the game, the relievers, and I remember Tug McGraw coming in for 2 or 3 innings for the Phillies when they were winning. You know, Rich Gosches with the Yankees, 2 to 3 innings. Now they have these specialized closers, which is very different than when I grew up.
Yeah.
And there's a bigger emphasis on middle relief than, like you said, you'd have the guy go 7 innings, and then Gossage and McGraw would come in and mop it up. Is what you do.
Right.
Yeah, well, like the Mets just they beat somebody. Oh, who the hell are they playing? God, I'm lost. But anyway, you look at the box score, they won, and you look at like, oh, I wonder who pitched. I missed the game, and you look, and it was Senga. Senga pitched, and then after that, there was like 6 other pitchers. I'm like, my God, they were winning. Did you really need 6 other pitchers?
Yeah, and then these Dave Roberts Dodger games where you have what's called a reliever game. I cannot stand those. And that's where I just, you know, that drives me nuts. Those games they're not good for baseball.
Right. So, like I said at the end of the show last week, I actually went down to a trading card show with my son last week. It was fun, man. We had a lot of fun. I got a gem. I got a nice gem. I texted Cooper. Most people probably won't even know who this is, but if you're from the Philadelphia region, you should. I found myself in 1940s. It's hard to see with the glare, but a 1940s Connie Mack. Card.
Yes.
Connie Mack. I couldn't pass it up. Connie Mack Stadium, Philadelphia nostalgia. I think I wound up spending as much. Which you were like, you know, I'm gonna end this one. Yeah. No, I mean, listen, man, they had some cool stuff. I even got a nice little picture to hang on the wall. They actually had a picture frame of two box covers of National League and American League handmade perfectos cigar box covers, and I got them both in a pack. So you find that kind of stuff in Florida. But it was fun. We had a good time. We were only there for about 40 minutes, and $400 later we were out.
Well, you were at, and if folks don't know Connie Mack, he not only has the most wins as a manager, he has the most losses as a manager. No one's managed more games than he has. I think it was over 50 years. Yeah,
so that was a piece of nostalgia I couldn't pass up.
No.
Couldn't pass up.
Yeah. And
you know what I want?
Yeah, I agree.
It's a shame because now my son's kind of sucking me into this, but I really like they had some of the super old bubblegum stick cards. They're like literally like the size of a bubblegum stick. Yeah, man. And they are cool, but they are expensive. I mean, these guys had cards there that cost. And there was a Roberto Clemente, a guy had it was a $25,000 card, and that's not even the tip of the iceberg when it comes to baseball cards. It's really insane that these kind of things still hold their value like that.
Yeah,
people still collect. I mean, look at our industry. Our industry is an industry of collectors.
I mean,
for all the swag haters out there,
and cigars. I mean, there are people who collect cigars.
Absolutely. The only problem with collecting cigars is it's not a problem, but it is a little bit of a problem. It's that box that you don't ever want to crack.
Right.
You know, and it's like the whole purpose is to crack, but it's so nice and it's so special. It's like I don't ever, you know, when do we crack the box? Because that's the problem with our collections is if I use it, it disappears. It's gone. It's gone forever. It's smoked and it's ash and it's gone. Maybe I'm left with a band to remember. Band in the moment.
Exactly.
So,
which box is that? Did you open one that you wish you wouldn't have?
No, but I it's not that I've opened one that I wish I wouldn't have, but there are cigars that I do wish that I either bought more at the time or you know, still didn't smoke them all. Like for me, I just top of my head right off the bat, like I really, really wish I could have held on to some Lito Gomez small batch number 3s. You know, you put a gun to my head, it's my favorite all-time cigar. Yeah, and I have none. And the rest of the planet has about none, maybe besides who knows what kind of stash John Carney has, but yeah, so there's plenty of those type of cigars I wish I bought. I wish I stashed some. Yeah, I'm sure we all have those, right?
Well, I opened up the and then you know that's a while ago.
Before you start, that's a good question for the audience. Put it in there. What are some cigars that you wish you still had, you wish you didn't smoke them all, you wish you could have got more of? But go ahead, continue, Johnny.
Yeah, the Mombacho Diplomatico. That was one. I love Mombacho, and I guess they're not around anymore. They're
done. They're done.
Yeah, they're done. And I think I have one or two of their the what the hell was it? The regular line. And then I had a small box. It was only a 10-count box of the Mombacho Diplomaticos. But another one that I wish I would have, that it's been gone for a long time, is the Oliva Series S. That hasn't been around. That hasn't been around in about 15 years.
Maybe longer.
Yeah, maybe longer.
Yeah,
I had
longer. That's almost before I think that's.
I got a box for my birthday way back when, and I cracked that thing like a kid at Christmas, and I could kick myself in the ass because that cigar was. It was the
torpedo. Was that the torpedo?
Well, it was it was the Diadema. Was my favorite size out of that. They did.
Okay, I think they had a couple of sizes with that. You know, you said it was like a Churchill.
Yes.
Those I haven't. It's probably about 15 years at least.
Man, that was. But anyway,
it had the footer band. It had the footer band, from what I remember.
Yes.
Yeah, it had. Yeah, I'm trying to find a pic.
That was one that I could kick myself for getting rid of that box.
All right, I got a pic here. Here's a pic from our good friends at Half Wheel.
Oh, of course, they I would imagine would be a place that have that because they do.
Yeah, I'm sure this is in the archives.
But they from what I heard from McTavish, who's been to their headquarters, they have like an incredible
little archive.
Collection. Yeah,
vault.
Yeah.
I could see that.
Yeah, I was gonna say library was like, but that's the wrong word. Yeah, yeah.
That's it, right, John?
That's the one.
That's the one.
Picture's a little grainy, but who knows how old that picture is?
So it is a torpedo.
Yeah.
That was
torpedo.
But they did make a diadema. John's right. They did make a diadema with that positive.
With the footer band. Yeah, that's before my time. Let's see.
So, Coop, how about you?
Well, I would say for sure the Avo limited edition 2010, which is the greatest Avo I think created. Another very limited one was the original Davidoff Year of the Snake, which was incredible in my book. I'm thinking the Joel Sherman by Nat Sherman, which was another great cigar. I mean, those are all one and dones that I really haven't been able to, I remember when the Avo 10s I found a retailer who had some, and I bought every box. I had to buy about 6 boxes of it from him. A retailer in Rhode Island I bought it from. They couldn't move them, and it was like, I'll take them. I'll take every box.
Those are nice when you walk in and you get those. It's like,
Yeah.
Let's see what we got from the crowd. Favorite collector was about Monte Cristo Millenniums.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the Ocho out of Rare and Vintage Room. That was a good one. Pepin 10th.
Mm-hmm.
That was a good. The 10th was very good.
The 10th was very good. Warhead 7 and OG Royal Jamaica.
Oh yeah.
We got from Jim Partagas. Jim Partagas 150s available in the vintage room at Smoke Inn Boynton Beach. Just so you know, you might have to take a trip down. Oh, another one, Royal Jamaica.
Those were
Alan Rubin. Interesting. Brother of the Leaves.
That wasn't. It wasn't. I wasn't. It's not bad. It wasn't a bad cigar.
Alan again.
TA next.
Alan Padron Millennium.
Oh, Padron Millennium. I actually had a Padron Millennium in 2018.
Yeah, Padron Millenniums were a good one. I feel like that was I think was my first time seeing $100 cigar. Was the Padron Millennium?
I don't remember what they originally went for, but I went to a wedding in 2018 and got that cigar. So that was very, very special.
I remember when they originally came out, and it wasn't the Millennium. It was the 50th.
Well, the 50th
when it originally came out with the humidor, and then if you purchased a humidor, you were able to buy.
Yeah. So
refill.
That 50th was incredible. But the Millennium is the only Padron I think that was a one and done. If there's another Padron one and done, someone tell me. I mean, I guess the Smoke Inn one is
microblend, sure.
The microblend you could say, but that became something else.
That became the number 4. That
became the number 4.
4.
Yeah. So,
but it almost had to be because it was like 10-year-old tobacco rolled in 2000 and released whenever it was released. I don't even remember.
Yeah.
So it was, it's one of those things where it was rolled to be a one and done 10 years before it was released.
Yeah. I mean,
you're probably right, Coop.
Yeah.
Well, seeing the Perdomo on your screen there, Coop, reminded me of the Silvio.
I have a Silvio in my humidor still. Yeah.
I
with
used
the wax seal on it. Yeah.
Yep. Oh God, I would love that cigar.
There are a lot of Perdomo archive cigars that I would like. The Golf Edition was a fantastic.
Oh right,
candidate.
I've heard that.
Yeah, there's a lot. Now the ESVs are revered. You can't get the ESVs anymore.
Yep.
So he's got Perdomo, who's known for a lot of regular production. He's got a lot of gems in that archive, is what I'll say.
Yes. Yeah, and he doesn't really play the limited edition game.
The ESVs were, he said when they came out, there's only going to be so many of them, and there were only so many of them, and they're gone. And to his credit, they have not tried to substitute a tobacco in there.
Right, and I think that that's what makes it work, right? There's when they release a limited edition, it's for a purpose, and for whether it's because there's only so much tobacco or whatever the case is, and not trying to finagle it with something else to continue to put it out. That makes and not just releasing a limited edition just to say just to have a limited edition. I think it makes a difference.
There was an aging room. It was actually the first aging room. It was called the M356. And that was the cigar that put Raphael on the map, right? It got the rating on Aficionado, the top 25. And there was tobaccos in there that were limited. And Raphael said that limited. And guess what? They ran out of the tobacco. They decided to bring it back with a different tobacco. But what they did is they called it the M356-2. So they said, look, this is different. It's close, but it is different. Right. So everyone knew that this was different.
You're being transparent, right?
You're being very transparent. And I had a higher number of respect for Raphael on that. So and it was actually pretty good. Was it the same as the original? Absolutely not. But it was very good.
Sure. Oh, it's a web page. I think I can find that here. Oh, there it is. I found one. Give me a second here. I'll pop it up there. Let me see. M356.
So right next to that 6, when they came out with the second iteration with 2 lowercase i's on it, that indicated it was different.
Right.
But that was a cigar that absolutely, and then the Quattro followed that, and that's where Quattro got that number 2. Yeah, number 2, and it was number 1 because it was Cuban that year. So. Right.
And and aging room really took off from there, man. You know, it really
it was Raphael found what he found his niche with that, and that opened so many doors for him. That led to the Romeo, the Aging Room Romeo, which really kind of was his, I guess, his audition to go into Altadis, and so that's how it all happened.
Good old Raphael, man.
Yeah.
What a life, what a story. I mean, honestly, what a life.
You know, we were doing on the Coop Show candidates for a new hand roll movie. Like, what would be some good hand roll movies? And Raphael's story came up. Like, that story coming over on the boat from Cuba. And then he really struggled in this business for over a decade before he really kind of started hitting his stride. Raphael struggled for a long time with his brand. So I think there's a good story to be told with that. The perseverance.
I agree. I agree.
Yeah.
Especially considering, number one, you still have the guy, right? He's still here. We can interview his take. You know, he can tell his story while you tell the story, and it's just an incredible story.
Yeah.
You know, not only this tenure of, you know, the cigar industry, but you know how the guy came to be here and everything he went through. I agree, Coop. That's a story worth telling. Raphael, if they don't do it yourself.
Yeah. You know, if I had the means, I would do it. Obviously, the guys who do these films have much better means than I do.
True.
But what's happening is with these hand-rolled stories is it's documenting a lot of these stories. And I think they need to be preserved and documented. There's too many of these stories that the people are gone and you can't document them anymore.
Right. It's too late.
So,
you can tell the story, but you can't get their side of the story.
Yep.
Apple and a Coca-Cola is what he got when he came over on the boat.
Yeah. First time.
Yep.
Coca-Cola, okay, but literally first time the guy got an apple. First time the guy ever tasted an apple. So when he hit American shores from a boat on Cuba.
Yep.
Coop. So what do we have? What is there? 3 hand rolls now?
There is actually 4, right? So there is the regular hand roll movie. Then there's the Newman one. That's the 2. The Pete Johnson's the 3rd.
Right.
And the Aroa is the 4th. But the 3rd and the 4th haven't been released yet. Like they're still kind of going through, I think, some distribution things. So, and I think there's gonna be a 5th next year, from what I heard.
And did they, I don't know, premiered or they showed it at PCA or?
Yeah. So that's what they've done the last 3 years. Is actually for all these they've done them. They bring literally a rough cut of it to the trade show. I was in the Julio Aroa one. I will tell you that I was cut out. But I didn't. But my name. There's a part where they mentioned the name Will, and I won't give it away. But it was confirmed by everyone that I was cut out and the reason is they had to shorten it for the governor of Louisiana. My piece is in the second half of the movie because I didn't. They went through the early stuff. My stuff's the much later stuff with the Aroas that I talked about.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So that was going to be my next question. Are they like on like a once a year schedule of trying to at least shoot?
I think so. I think they're at least.
I think they are.
I think they are. I know it's expensive, but I know they've been doing a bunch of these simultaneously too.
You know, I think that's something that needs support and even maybe some kind of marketing machine behind it, because I think it's important. You know, there's not really anybody out there. I mean, look, we do what we do and people interview and look, but I don't have the capability to make a full-fledged film, and neither do most of us guys who are doing podcasts and talk and interviews. And I think these guys are documenting the history, and it's important because there's not a lot of documented history out there. You go on YouTube and you look up cigar. You're gonna. There's a lot of 5-minute, 7-minute clips and different bouncing around, but there's not a lot of really well done documented history, full-fledged films. To really keep the history of this industry alive.
Alex, I think most of the interviews that are being done, Coop will tell you, and you've seen it, is you're talking about the here and the now. Okay, what do you have out coming now? What is going on now? Right. All right, you always ask the question, how did you get into the business? Of course, you touch on it, but everybody seems like they're interested in the here, with the questions that are asked are the here and the now. And
Sure.
I agree that we definitely need something like that. So you know, people who may be just getting into it can see the whole story. You need to see the whole story. And the one that they did with the Royal, it was the whole place was quiet. You could hear a pin drop. It was amazing.
I was sitting at the table next to the brothers, and to see their reaction throughout the film was amazing because they're featured in it too. And yeah, it was so cool to see that. I mean, in the Pete one, were you at the Pete one last year?
Yep.
I mean, that was incredible. I mean,
yep.
It's Pete and the Garcias in that one too. There is a big component with the Garcias in that. You can't not separate.
Has to be.
Yeah. So, and the reason why they're not out is, look, these guys who make these films, they have to make money. You know, these are not cheap to do.
Right.
Especially, I've seen the production they do. So they're trying to get distribution deals. And you know. So it's going to take a little time. They're investing a lot of money. Pete's invested a lot of his own money in these things too.
Sure. Yeah. I think that or if there's a way for them to get out there to the consumer more, we kind of don't, we kind of hear about it during PCA. We kind of hear about, when, maybe if and when they release, but I think that, consumers in this industry should be more behind this. This is documenting the legacy of this industry.
To the credit of the original movie, they put that out on YouTube for free.
Yes, they did.
By the way, you can go to the Coop site. There's a little on the sidebar. You can always access it. And that's the least I can do for these guys. Again, they didn't make any. That was important to get that out there and putting it on YouTube. Yes. You're not making money at that point. You're not monetizing it. Maybe you are to some extent. I don't know, but
maybe to some extent. But honestly, the cigar viewing population isn't big enough. If everybody, cigar consumer, if every cigar consumer watched this on YouTube, it's still not big enough to generate real revenue. That's just our industry. We're a very niche industry, and when people believe it or not, you need millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of views to start generating real revenue on YouTube. And it's not just one video. You got to have multiple videos running. So that was a, credit to them. That's a, let's get it out there. And maybe we don't, maybe we bite the bullet on this one, but at least we get, this out there. So
we were at PCA last year. It was the Padron family had an interview that someone did in their own archives, and it was a rare interview with Jose Orlando Padron, and I'm like, that should really be accessible to everybody because it's their call, obviously, what the family wants to do with that, but that's the only extended interview I've ever seen with him, Mr. Padron. So
Sure. I'll tell you, who else did a good job? Did a couple of Fred Rui had a couple of.
He did a great job with those.
He really did.
Yeah.
Fred, bring those back, man. He really did an excellent job with those.
They're all on Coop, by the way. I talked with Fred, and Fred asked me if I share those on Coop. I said absolutely. So if you go into the search bar, type Last Puff on Coop, or go to YouTube and type Last Puff, you can access. He's got some really incredible interviews. Very high production value he brought to those.
Nice. Yes, he really did.
Yeah,
he really did. He did a good job.
He did an excellent, and I think he really did those. There's some really good interviews he's got there.
And I think that was just something Fred decided to do. I don't think it was. He just decided that this is, it wasn't anything outside of, Fred decided this is something I need to do, and he did it really well.
He did one of the installments of that was on the famous restaurant that famous within the cigar industry a lot is Saga Restaurant in the Dominican Republic, which I think it's the best restaurant I've ever been to. And he has a whole behind the scenes look at that. And he's a little critical of that one. I said, no, Fred, that is a great thing to see, and you'll understand why people flock to this restaurant when you go to the Dominican Republic. Just the whole story of that restaurant was pretty cool to see.
For you folks, I just put the link to Fred's YouTube, the Final Puff YouTube channel.
Absolutely. Yep. Absolutely.
Well worth the watch.
Well worth the watch. Yeah. I think he did one of the first interviews with Manuel Casado with his daughters on the same stage and stuff like that. But yeah, it was done with Dominican cigar makers because he kind of did this in conjunction of going to Pro Cigar Festival.
Right.
So that was kind of why it's all Dominican for the most part.
Alan, I would disagree with you on Raphael's story here. Like, I can see what you're saying. Yeah, the cigar doc wouldn't be interesting.
I have shown the hand roll movie to non-smokers, and they were mesmerized. Now I showed it to them. They weren't like seeking it out, but they were very into it. Yeah, and I think like the Raphael's story is not one really about cigars.
No, there's more meat on that bone. There's a lot more with like you said, coming over. Number 2, the music journey he took on top of that, and then add into the cigars. So there's a lot more, a lot.
Yeah, there's a History Channel on Modern Marvels that they did on that Carlito participated in. Like about 20 years ago.
I remember that. Yeah, it was like History or Discovery or something. You're right. Yeah,
incredible. It's incredible, and they tied it in with all types of tobacco, so it wasn't just but they did a great job of differentiating cigar tobacco from cigarette tobacco in there. And Carlito has a major role in that. And like I said, I obviously they thought it was interesting enough for non-smokers.
Right. Yeah, I mean, listen, I think at the end of the day, well done content is well done content. So even if it's not something that non-cigar smokers may go seek out. I mean, listen, I've watched plenty of things that weren't necessarily my cup of tea, but it was well done. So I wound up watching it. I didn't click off. So yeah, I mean, to your point, Alan, well, that comes with being a niche, culture, but it can transcend. And I think a story like Raphael's transcends easily. You can spend as much time, talking about Raphael and his journey. The cigar industry is just a detail,
right?
It just happened to be the detail. It could have been a car manufacturer, could have been anything, but the story just so happens to be in the cigar industry. I think that transcends.
Yep.
Well, we cruised right on into the 11 o'clock hour. Don't go anywhere, folks. We're gonna run a couple ads, pay a couple bills, and we shall return shortly. So stick around. We'll be right back.
Honest Abe here with the GOAT to tell you about Smokin's Cigar of the Month Club. Alex, tell our fans out there why our club is the best darn club out there.
Absolutely.
I'll tell you why. Because every month I personally handpick 5 premium cigars. No filler, no fluff, no fugazis. These are all premium handmade name brands that you can find in any brick and mortar store in your area. All delivered to your door for $34.95. And our average monthly retail value since the inception of our club has been almost $57. Another great feature of our Cigar of the Month Club, Alex, tell them about the ease of our Cigar of the Month Club. I'll tell you, I hate subscription services. It's always a pain to cancel them, turning them on. We've made it super simple. All you gotta do is log into your account. There's a little green button there. If it's green, you're active. You want to take a break, you're going out of town, simply hit the button and you'll deactivate your membership. Want to turn it back on? The exact same easy process. You can turn it right back on. We've made it that easy for you. Another great feature is our Double Down Club. Alex, tell them about the Double Down Club. We had so many of our members reach out to us who really enjoyed our selections every month. They wanted to know there was a way they can get 2. And we've made that very simple. With a simple check mark, you can get double this great selections every month and save $10. Does our club have perks? Of course it have perks. You want to tell them about the perks? As a member of our club, every month there's a special discount code where if you like any of the selections, we will offer them to you, so you want to come and get some more, you can get them at a special discounted rate for our Cigar of the Month Club members. And finally, expedited shipping. Tell them how fast we get the stuff out, Alex. We get the stuff out on the 28th of every month. Our membership bills on the 28th, and we get every member's package out on the 28th if it's a shipping day. 5 great reasons on what makes Smoking Cigar of the Month Club the best club out there. Check it out. Peace. Hey, I really appreciate you doing the video with me. Thanks.
Oh, yeah, you're welcome. I mean, you didn't let me get a word in, but whatever.
What?
Great. It's perfect.
Some epic.
Welcome back to KMA Talk Radio, Hour 2, folks. Crew is back. We are here. Johnny Smokes is in the building. In the tent, in the hut, in the, what do you call it? What is your name?
Devil's Den.
The devil in the Devil's Den. The devil celebrates Christmas all year round.
Yes. Gotta love it.
All right, hour 2. I'm just gonna get it. I'm gonna go right on ahead. We're gonna march along as we always start second hour of the show. It is time to test our 2 co-hosts' musical acumen with this week's segment of Name That Jam, sponsored by Abo Cigars. Alrighty, this week I'm going with this day in music history again. We did this last week, and I got a couple interesting facts from this day, June 14th in music history. Are you gentlemen ready?
Oh God, here we go.
Cooper, are you muted?
Yes, I am. Rookie move.
Okay, there he is.
I had
Rookie
the cough
move,
button.
rookie
I had to
move.
do the cough button. Yep.
The old cough button.
Yeah.
All right. That's the one thing that's nice about this mic. My mute is, I don't know. All right, here we go. 1966. I feel like Cooper's going to get this right away, but we'll see. Deeming its Butcher cover in poor taste, Capitol Records recalls this band's album, which is scheduled for release the next day, The shot of the group wearing butcher uniforms and dismembered doll parts, roll pork and sausage link, is meant to show how they are being torn apart by their celebrity. What is or who is that band? It's Butcher Cover in Poor Taste, Capitol Records. This band's
is the big
album.
one. This is the big one.
Ooh. Nobody?
Oh God.
I'm gonna give the audience
I got it.
Oh, you do have it?
I think I have it.
I know you have it. I know.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to just like.
Let's see how our audience is. Oh, we got some of the audience in there. Johnny, no clue. It's a tough one. I wouldn't have known this. Cooper, give it to us.
Sergeant Pepper.
Incorrect.
It's not Sergeant Pepper.
It's not Sergeant Pepper. While you have the band, the album is actually Yesterday and Today.
Why didn't it was Sergeant Pepper?
Yeah, Sergeant Pepper's them walking across. Isn't that what's the one they're walking across?
Yeah, that's them walk.
No, Sergeant Pepper's the one where they're in the.
No, yeah,
band
they're
leaders.
in the. No, Yesterday and Today, and I'll pull the album cover real quick. Ooh, this was a stumper, double.
Wow.
Stumper. So this was the.
I knew it was
Butcher
Beatles.
Cover.
I knew it was the Beatles.
Yes, it was
That's
the
why I
Beatles.
knew it was the Beatles. Yeah. And I thought
This-
66 was the Yeah, that's
the Beatles Yesterday and Today. This was the album cover that was a little too much for the fine folks over at Capitol Records. All right. Moving on. 1970. It's an interesting one. This artist's new band was introduced as Derek and the Dominoes when they took the stage at Lyceum in London. Derek and the Dominoes.
Rolling Stones?
Not quite. Incorrect.
Cream.
Cooper?
Cream.
Not Cream.
Not Cream.
Cream
was before that. Yeah, Cream was before that.
The Animals?
Not the Animals. I'm looking for an artist here. Solo artist. Kind of.
Oh, I mean, okay. Oh, the Souls is Clapton.
The solo. Yes, that is correct. It is Eric Clapton.
Okay, yeah.
Eric Clapton
Okay. Yeah.
was Derek and the Dominoes. I was not aware of that. I didn't know that, actually.
Yeah. It was like
not
a
much
one-time thing.
No, okay. It was like a one. Because I was going to say not much success there, huh? All right, 2002. This artist became a sir when he was knighted in the Queen's birthday honors. 2002.
Freddie Mercury? I don't know.
No, Freddie Mercury. I think.
Elton
Yeah,
John?
Freddie Mercury was long dead. Not Elton John.
Not Elton John. Sting.
Not Sting. Come on, you only got a couple.
Uh,
Here's Raphael from Miami. Good morning, Raphael.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Part of the first half, Raphael, you were.
Big part of the first half. All right. 2002 became a sir. That would be Sir Mick Jagger.
Okay. All right.
One you guys
That might have been earlier with him. Yeah.
all right.
This was a rough week.
2019.
Yeah, this was a rough week with music, though.
Yeah. Yes, we got to talk about that.
Yep.
2019. This should be pretty easy. This artist was granted a permanent restraining order against her former manager who looked after her career from 2007 to 2008. Oh, come on. This is
Miley Cyrus?
Taylor Swift.
Who? No,
Miley
no,
Cyrus.
no. Come on,
Not
she's a
that.
lunatic.
Britney Spears?
There you go.
Oh,
Britney
yeah.
Britney Spears. Yeah, it was kind of a light day in music outside a couple of things as well. But very unfortunate week in music with the passing of Brian Wilson.
Yeah, and Sly Stone. Sly Stone.
Yeah.
Correct. That is correct.
I've always said Pet Sounds is still the greatest album ever, one of the greatest albums ever. We just recorded Jukebox with Sly and the Family Stones. There's a Riot Going On, which I think was such a foundational album for so much of the music in the 70s and even the Minneapolis sound with Prince. There's a lot of ties that we made back to Prince with Sly Stone, even though they never worked together. So those are two big artists that, and Sly was a very controversial character, obviously, but a musical talent nonetheless.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, a couple of big losses in the music industry this week, but it happens. So.
It happens. Yeah, they were too big. I don't remember a week like that in a long time.
Right.
Losing 2 artists like that.
Right. So that was Name That Jam, sponsored by Avo Cigars.
Yeah.
Always eloquently doing things, and that sentence Abe says to take us out of that. But thank you, Avo Cigars. All right, gentlemen, I came up with an idea on the break, right?
Okay.
So, Johnny, we used to play a game here once in a while when it was just the three of us. It's called This or That. Essentially, what's going to happen is I'm going to put you and Coop up, and I'm just going to fire random this or that questions at you. Now, the part of this is I'm usually prepared for this, but I'm totally going to freestyle it as much as you guys are freestyling your answers. So this should be interesting. I'm going to cue us in for some this.
Is there a theme or is it a theme?
Nah, Coop, I'm freestyling. Maybe. I'm trying.
Okay.
Probably a lot of sports. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm going off the top of my head here.
Okay.
All right. Let's get started. We're going to start with Cooper, then we'll start with you on the next one, Johnny. Cooper.
Okay.
Football or baseball?
Baseball.
And Johnny, just so you know, in this, I never give context. You make your own context.
Yeah. It's baseball.
All right, Johnny.
For me.
Football or baseball?
Baseball.
Baseball? Baseball over football. Interesting. I wasn't sure. I knew Coop was going to go baseball. I wasn't sure about Johnny. I'm kind of the same way.
Mm-hmm.
I was talking about it yesterday. I've never really been a guy that gets upset about the Eagles losing on Sunday to the point that it ruins my Monday. But I've certainly been tortured over the Phillies in my life.
That's the problem. Like that's exactly it's.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's been so. I mean, this last couple weeks has been so hard right now.
Sure.
For me,
I think I have like deep-seated PTSD with the Phillies. I mean, God, Joe Carter made me cry when I was 11. That was my introduction to 93 Phillies. That was my introduction to the world of being a Philadelphia sports fan. Joe Carter made me cry.
I mean, but 2008 will never be replicated for me. Winning that championship, and the Giants were my football team. I just really can't even watch them anymore. I mean, I love those Super Bowls they won, but that 2008 season will never be replicated in my book. Winning that championship.
I haven't celebrated since 1986 with my Mets. And then being a Dolphins fan, 1973.
Well, I've had my share of heartbreak on teams. 42 years for the Sixers, 50 years for the Flyers. Yeah, it's tough.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, Johnny, we're going to start with you. Basketball or hockey?
Hockey. I'm
Cooper?
a hockey guy.
Oh, hockey, by far. Stanley Cup playoffs are the best playoffs in the world.
Yes, big time.
Yeah.
Hockey playoffs are also, to me, very much like baseball playoffs. It heats up quick in the playoffs. Even if you didn't watch a regular season game all season long, playoff time, hockey, baseball, it's time. It heats up. It becomes a different game. So I could go either way with this. I could go either way. I probably lean basketball, but hockey, especially playoff hockey, even live or not, watching playoff hockey is exciting. All right, let's go back to Cooper. Yankees or Mets?
Mets. Even though they're our rival, the Yankees are the biggest bunch of cheaters I ever seen.
All right. All right.
Oh God.
Johnny, what do you got? Yankees or Mets?
Oh, Mets. Come on. Let's go Mets.
I figured as much.
And I want you guys to do well. If the Phillies don't do well, I want the Mets to do well. I honestly am.
Sure.
Like that.
Somebody. We want somebody from the East.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
All right. Where we starting? Johnny, city living or the suburbs?
Oh God. Suburbs. Cities I like to visit, but I'll take the suburbs. I'm sorry.
Cooper.
It's interesting because I lived in both. I would say the suburbs, but it's ironic because a couple of my kids are very much city people, and they want to live in, like one of my sons, who's just the one who moves to Columbus, has to live downtown. He always has to live in a downtown area. So,
Right. Yeah, no, that's tough for me, man. I think in my older age, I've come, 10 years ago, I would have told you city, no question. I think I've come to enjoy the peace of the suburbs. Although I will say, whenever I get the chance to go somewhere downtown and just get out of my car and walk around in a downtown area, I absolutely love it, because it's one of the things you miss when you move to the suburbs. You don't really get that. But yeah, I agree. As you get older, the suburbs are suburbs a little safer.
Yeah, it's weird where I am. I'm actually borderline rural where I live. I'm in the right on a border of a rural area, so it's kind of.
So you're close. You're almost on the outskirts, almost.
But where I live, you can get from rural to downtown Charlotte in 20 minutes too. Yeah.
There you go. So that's not bad.
Yeah.
All right. Who we starting with? Johnny. See, you New York guys, it makes it too easy. Madison Square Garden or Boston Garden?
Oh, God. I'd like to see Boston Garden. I'm sorry. Boston Garden.
Never been?
No, never.
Me neither. Cooper.
I've been to both, but I've been to what's now the new Boston Garden. But by far, Madison Square Garden is the greatest arena in the world. And the teams that play there play right in the center of Manhattan. You're right in the center of Manhattan. It's the epicenter of the city. Yeah. Unbelievable arena. Just great acoustics, great views. Yeah, it's Madison Square Garden all the way.
Okay. All right. I think if I ask you Super Bowl or World Series, you're both going World Series, and so am I.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to go there. If you guys got one, shoot it out, because like I said, I'm freestyling totally.
All right, I got one.
Go ahead.
We'll stick with the theme. Golf or tennis?
Golf.
Tennis.
Can't watch golf.
Yeah,
you're talking watching, tennis. I mean, I thought you meant
or even playing it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I got one for you guys. Go ahead, Alex.
No, go. I was just going to say. For me, golf is the only thing that is slower than watching chess. Okay, golf is even slower than chess, and I get a lot of slack for watching chess. I mean, I just can't watch it, man. There's not enough going on. There's not enough going on. You can check in. You could just check in and check the channel and check the state. What did you really miss? What did you miss?
Yeah, I mean, it's nuts down here in Charlotte. In the cigar lounges this weekend, it's the U.S. Open, and these major championships. Every TV's got to have it on. Like you can't. It's
right.
I
know. I know.
I
know.
Yeah.
I just can't get into it.
Like I don't even go to the cigar shop on Father's Day because I know I'm just going to watch golf.
You know what it is, right?
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
All right.
You had one, Johnny.
Yes. Coke or Pepsi?
Coke or Pepsi?
You know why? My answer is right here.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Coke too. I gotta tell you,
Coke as well.
Especially when we're talking cans. I just don't see Pepsi as much as I see Coke.
The other thing is I find Pepsi to taste inconsistent at times. Where it's in Coke, I know what I'm getting every time.
I also find it more inconsistent in the variations, Cooper. Like, yeah, fountain Coke is different than a bottled Coke and a canned Coke and a glass bottle. But I feel like the swing in Pepsi is even more so.
A lot
more from a glass to a can to a draft. It's there we go. Two guys, Coke.
Diet Coke, but nonetheless, the official drink of cigar.
My soda stream.
I haven't tackled those soda streams yet.
Me neither.
Yeah, I want to get it. Yeah.
So, I mean, I love them. I like a sparkling water with my cigar. It's just almost like a free refresh, every time you're drinking. And but I'll go through them. I'll go through a bottle of Pellegrino 2-3 while I'm sitting here, especially if I'm spending a couple hours smoking. And but the soda stream, it does like Pellegrino has a little bit of a ting to it. Soda stream doesn't have just straight, it's just club soda essentially. But what I like is depending on your, if you get a decent one, they have the different levels. So you can really, you can get that Topo Chico level of carbonation or lower if you like. So I'm a big fan.
All right. People are chiming in on the side with certain things. Jesus.
Oh, here we go. I'm going to use theirs. I'm going to use theirs. Why not?
Yeah,
Thank you.
Let's
Thank
do it.
you,
Let's
people.
do it. Yeah, that's
All
a good
right.
idea.
Book or audio book?
That's a good one.
Oof.
You know what's funny? As the writer, I should answer book, but I'm going audiobook.
I gotta agree. I agree.
Yeah, but as the writer, I should be picking book.
Me too. And as a guy who's a big book guy, the ease of an audio book, listen, I can't read while I'm driving. I could sure put an audio book on if I got a long drive, or if I want to go to sleep and close my eyes and listen till I fall asleep. I really can't do that with a book.
It also depends on who's narrating. Is also can really make or break it.
Absolutely. Thank God for the preview button on Apple Books, because I have to. Because if it's a guy that's just terrible, or especially now, at least for me, they have these AI voice generated book reader, and I could just tell. You could just tell that's not a human. You just see. All right, here's another one. Straight or V cut? Where'd you go? Straight or V?
Straight.
Me too. I mean,
I've tried the V cuts. I
honestly,
know people. I don't discourage anyone from using it, but I don't. It's not for me.
Not for me.
The only way I'm using a V cut is if it's got to be a torpedo, because if it's a regular tour, I'm just pinching it with my fingers. Like literally, it would have to be like a torpedo that I have to cut, and the only thing available is a V cut. I'm not a V cut guy. I never got into it. I don't see it. I listen. I know there's people that will crucify us over these type of claims, but V cuts aren't for me. I've yet to see the need. All right, let's see what else we got. Yeah, we're not doing that one in the comments. That's for sure. Oh, that's interesting. Drink out of soft flame or torch indoors. I'm torch. Sometimes I get in the mood. I want to be fancy and use a soft flame, but it's too much work.
I have the DuPont soft flame, and it's the best soft flame, but it's
absolutely.
I'd rather have a torch.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yep.
I agree. This is interesting. Drink out of the we can tell by these two guys it's drink out of the can. I'm the same way. I don't need two containers to hold my drink. Give me the can. I'm good.
I agree.
Yep.
I'm the same way in the bar. Give me a Pellegrino. I don't need the lime. I don't need the glass. Just give me the bottle. I'm good. I'm happy.
Yeah, ice will dilute a soda too much for me too. So I might
absolutely.
In the can. Yeah.
Yeah, you got to drink it fast.
Same thing.
Yeah.
Same thing with a sparkling water. All the ice does is just takes away that carbonation. I'm adding more water to it. CP Hunt, that says New World or Havanas. I'm a New World guy. I listen, flavor aside, you can't get consistent enough Cubans for me to ever want to take Cubans over New World cigars. I bet you guys.
Yeah, I'm New World.
Yeah. New World.
Yep. But there's some very good Havanas, I won't lie.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. John, night owl or morning guy?
Night owl.
Cooper, we know you're a night owl.
Yeah, night owl.
Yeah, I agree. You figure I do my lives at 11 o'clock at night, so
right.
Cooper woke me up.
Cooper's running prime times till midnight or later at times. Yeah. What? I'm gonna get out of that. That was fun. But let me ask you guys a question. What do you enjoy doing most with a cigar when you're smoking a cigar by yourself? You're not reviewing. You're not. You watch TV. You listen to music. Is there something that's like what's your enjoyable space?
Yeah, it's definitely the music piece. I mean, that's kind of what created the jukebox show to begin with, and so it's definitely the music piece. I find it's therapeutic. It's relaxing. You can kind of it's you don't have to look at something where you get distracted either. TV will distract me. Watching it will distract me. Eating will distract me. A pairing will distract me even.
Sure. Yeah, I agree, Coop. And the music, like I said, I'll sit here, especially in the tent or at Lena's shop, light up, turn the music on, and me, it's got to be. I love classical music, so I like maybe some good classical. Or they have like on YouTube, they have some of that. I don't know, like just cool jazz or something. You just want to sit there and listen to something in the background and just relax and just think about anything or nothing. It doesn't matter. So
yeah, I agree with you. I especially like getting something like instrumental or something with no vocals, jazz, or like you said, or classical or something, because that's when I really just want, like, it's like you said, it's just kind of there. You know, sometimes with lyrics now I'm getting, you know, you start, you know, you're with the song and that's great too. But sometimes when I just want to like zone out, like the music is just, it's almost white noise. Yeah. Like something instrumental, you know, some lo-fi, just chill. You know, it's good.
Yeah. Like Candy knows that I'm a Dean Martin fan, big time. I'm sure you guys know that too.
Oh yeah.
But I like the instrumental. I just like the instrumental because like you said, then you're focused on his words. It's like, oh, Dino, I love you. So it's just the background music.
All right. Here's a question. I feel like I know the answer for you guys and for me for sure. But I want Dean Martin roast or the new Comedy Central roast?
Oh, come on. Dean Martin.
Dean Martin.
I agree. And that's no knock on.
Oh, they were the greatest ensembles ever. Foster Brooks, Bruce Buzzy. They were. Bruce Buzzy was incredible on those roasts.
To anybody out there, if you've never watched Don Rickles in a roast, then you've never really seen Don Rickles perform.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
And those, like you said,
was,
Ruth Butts. I mean.
Yeah.
There's something about
when he did the show with Ron Reagan in the crowd. That was even he was a little toned back, but he was still good.
Yeah,
you know,
he was. I love the Dean Martin, Bruce Buzzy scenes where she come in and whack him with the purse, and he would he would just throw those daggers in when she would just, you knew she was going to respond by whacking him with the purse, and his facial expressions as he's getting whacked were hysterical.
Oh my god!
And you know, interesting enough, Dean Martin actually never drank on stage.
No, he didn't.
No,
that glass was never filled with liquor. It was part of the act.
It was
part of the act.
Foster Brooks was the other guy who would be the drunk. Now I don't know if Foster Brooks ever drank on stage or not. That I don't know. But Foster Brooks would also play that drunk on stage.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Time's passed.
Yeah.
You know what? I got an important question I needed to ask both you guys. And I asked this question a lot. And it drives me. It's actually going to be a two-part thing if you guys don't mind.
Yeah.
So I'm going to shoot this one at you guys. Ketchup on your hot dogs.
Are you over the age of 11?
Yes, you are a grown man. Ketchup on your hot dogs.
It's time to me. It's time to move on to actual hot dog toppings. I mean, I'm not totally against it, and I don't even mind the ketchup and mustard mix, but I don't know. Straight ketchup on a hot dog is not the thing for me. What about you, Cooper?
I don't like ketchup, period. It's too sweet. That being said, no, so there's no way I'm putting it on a hot dog. Now, if someone wants to put it on their hot dog, let them. I mean, I don't think it's the end of the world. It's like this.
Yeah, it's not the worst.
Like I hear this beans and chili is the most evil thing in the world. It's not the most evil thing in the world. If that's how you like it, then that's how you like it. You know, we get on Terrence about his cheesesteaks, but there's a reason for that because he tries to pass things off as certain things. If you're going to try to pass off ketchup on a hot dog as a Chicago hot dog, right? That's where the problem is.
Right.
Yeah.
Plus, Terrence's ability to take a decent photo, even if it. I feel like he's ruined decent cheesesteaks in his inability to take a decent photo.
I'm more horrified of the one with the pepper steak he put up once and tried to pass.
Oh, that Mongolian beef steak?
Yeah.
That was crazy. That was crazy.
Oh,
the one that got him into trouble was at Steve's, and Steve's basically the problem with Steve's is a good cheesesteak, but they use like those. They don't shred the
They don't shred
steak.
like Dino's.
Oh, it doesn't photo well is to begin with.
It doesn't look right.
But it is a good cheesesteak. Yeah.
Right. So this was a two-part question. You said, John.
All right. Now this is the other one, and Coop, you mentioned Terrence Riley, and I'll come back to that. Do you guys like pineapple on your pizza?
I'm not a pass on it, but whatever. I don't care. You like a Hawaiian pizza? That I'm okay with it, but I pass on it. It's not for me.
No.
I actually reviewed a pineapple pizza. And the answer is it can work with very small amounts. It's not terrible. The other way I've seen it really well is on a barbecue pizza. It's actually pretty good. But in general, it's not my first choice for a topping. And I think if you put an excessive amount on it, it would be terrible. So, and I think that's where a lot of this comes from.
Yeah, it was because when I went around, I think it was at Smokinos, I was asking people questions, and one was pineapple on a pizza, and overwhelming. No, heck no. But of course, there was that one guy with the name of Terrence Riley that said absolutely.
Well, of course he did.
But yeah, like I said, I guarantee he was just doing that to kind of get some attention. I'm sure.
Sure, of course. He knows where this is going. He knew to be mentioned somewhere, and it came to fruition here on KMA Talk Radio.
It's very niche how it can work, but it's not is it the worst thing in the world? No, but it's not a first choice topic either.
So here's my only thing, right? Because there's like this anti-pineapple on pizza movement, which is crazy to me.
Right.
Listen, I get if you don't like it, you don't like it. I'm not really into like fruit on my pizzas, but if you're going to say that it doesn't belong on pizza at all, there's not. I mean, I feel like I could make the same argument about a barbecue pizza. Barbecue pizza isn't pizza.
That's where I was.
If we want to get that technical, there's a lot of things. Oh, you know what, Tim? That's a good question. Anchovies on pizza?
Yeah.
Hell yes.
Hell
the more
yeah.
the better. What about you, John?
New York State. That was a great thing.
No.
It's not for everybody. It's not for
everybody. I know people that love it. I know people. Listen,
I'm the guy that if I'm in an Italian restaurant and you have a Caesar salad, I want the real anchovies, and I want more on the side. I don't want just that paste shit. I want some anchovies in there. I'm an anchovy. An anchovy on pizza.
Give me the piss shivers on that one. Oh God.
If you say pineapple pizza versus a salad pizza is just awful. I just can't.
Right.
It's not even a pizza. At that point, it's not even a pizza.
I like some of the people off on the side. I got it over here, and I agree with Roger Fulop. No fruit on pizza, but of course, I love. Where is it? Mike Rimmer. Pineapple on pizza should be illegal.
Right. So if you're making that, so okay, but if we're making that argument, right? How do we argue for a barbecue pizza?
Right, barbecue. Like I said, I've had it with the barbecue pizza,
and I'm not saying it's bad, barbecue chicken pizza, but if we gotta say pineapple,
right? That's my point.
Right. Why does that make it in? Why is barbecue pizza okay?
That's to each his own, but hell no.
Yeah,
I'll tell you what I don't care for. Like it's just unnecessary for me. I don't need I don't need a pound of arugula on top of my pizza. I don't know why. Even normal, some pizzas why?
I don't know what
it's
that's about.
It's unnecessary. And even though it didn't go in the oven, by the time you close the box and it got now, I have wilted arugula on top of my pizza, which I'm really not into. So listen, if we're gonna harp on pineapple, there's some other things out there that
I agree.
Don't belong on pizza just as well.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree with you on that.
Very informative today. Love it.
Yeah, I've had shrimp and lobster pizza. Yeah, I'm sure here in Maine they'll put shrimp and lobster on anything.
A good seafood pizza is really good, though. Yeah.
Let me tell you, a good Connecticut clam pizza. I'm in. I am in.
One thing when I was in Italy, I had some really incredible seafood pizzas. Really good stuff,
I'm sure.
I mean,
I'm sure.
I sent Raphael a few pictures of those,
and
they were like the fish swimming on.
Yeah, we're right. We're talking fresh out to sea seafood. I mean,
is,
that's the difference.
Venice was the place to get it. Yeah, Venice was definitely the place to get those pizzas.
That seafood didn't come frozen in a bag. That stuff was caught in the coast and put on a pizza that day.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little white clam pie. Yes.
White.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'd have to try it before I could say anything. I'd want to try it first. I've never tried it.
So here's the thing, John. You gotta get it at a place that really does the pizza well done, because that clam and that sauce is heavy. So I mean, that pizza can become flop city real easy. You pick it up and you got nothing but bread in your hand and everything's on the floor. It's got to be. It's got to be able to hold it a little bit.
It's got to be well done. Yeah, I agree 100% on that. Staten Island's got some good clam pies on Staten Island. I think outside of Connecticut, they have the best clam pies. We grew up. I grew up in my later years on Staten Island as a teenager, and clam pie was a staple for us. Yeah.
All right. Linguine. Mussels or clams?
Mine is a no-brainer. And I don't know why. It would have to be clams. Mussels, every time I've eaten it, which is 3 times, I got sick as a dog. Like sick.
Okay,
sick.
so yeah,
Not from one location either. Different locations. 3 times I was sick. So never. I ask that every time I go into a restaurant and they have some kind of, we go to this nice little Italian restaurant in Bethlehem. And I make sure right away. Is there any clams or any mussels on this? If they say yes, no, I don't want it. Let's do something else. So, no.
What about
mussels.
you, Cooper?
So yeah, it's gonna be a little bit of a cop-out answer. Red sauce with the mussels.
That was gonna be
white
my next
sauce
question.
with the clams. White sauce with
That
the
was
clams.
gonna be.
Yeah.
The white sauce
like
is amazing.
Yeah.
That's a good call. Red sauce with the mussels. Well, I can live and die by that.
Yeah.
I can live and die by that.
Yeah.
I like
exactly. Yeah.
Well, with that being said, we are blowing right through this hour, and we got some stuff to get to. It's time to find out what is the scoop with our friend Coop.
Coop.
Hey, yo, what's my theme music?
The Scoop with Coop. Breaking industry news. Hear it first on KMA Talk Radio and cigar-coop.com.
We got news
All right,
this week.
Cooper. We got some news this week.
We got some interesting stories. Let's start with a wrapper binder filler story to kind of kick it up. The Pledge of Allegiance, which I just smoked the 2024 version of, is back for 2025. There's going to be 2 sizes of it. The box press Toro, which has been the size every year, it's coming back. And then there's a Perfecto size, which is called the Rocket, coming out. There's going to be 1,776 boxes of the Toro and 249 boxes of the Rocket, representing 249th anniversary of this country. The other thing is that they changed the blend this year. So the blend has changed under the covers.
Okay.
Which I wonder if it was because I think the 24 maybe didn't hit as much. So it's a similar blend. It's not exactly. I think they took the Dominican tobacco out is really the big thing. And these are going to start shipping this week. Pricing for the Toro, $22. Pricing for the Rocket Perfecto, $30.
They've been highly sought after.
Yeah, I mean, I remember I got my 23 box. I was down there. We did the was it episode 500? Was the anniversary show? It was the
500th. Yes, that's when you got it.
Yeah, and literally, I remember they had one in the back for me, and I'm like, yeah, I went and got it. And it lucked out because I didn't realize how they went fast. They went very fast.
Did we. We and Abe says it. We completely missed on that release. We thought, $20 cigar, pledge, niche themed, how many, and it went wild.
It went wild. It was
way cooking. We didn't make the same mistake the next year.
Exactly. So I bought the 24, then the 23. I'll buy the 25 for sure. So,
absolutely.
I will be getting those. So they should be hitting before pretty soon. So you should see them on the shelves anytime for the 4th of July if you want them.
That's a good wrapper binder filler.
Yeah, that was a good one.
All right.
Now, this next one has to go down in the history as one of the most bizarre press releases I've ever gotten in my lifetime. All right, so this is going in that Hall of Fame. Grupo Turrent, okay? The Turrents are the Mexican cigar family. They make cigars. They grow most of the San Andreas tobacco. There's the face of the company for as long as I can remember, someone by the name of Alejandro Turrent. So he has been the face. We get a press release on Sunday, a bunch of people in the media, announcing that he has concluded his tenure with Grupo Turrent. Now, when you hear concluding the tenure, right? It sounds like he's done with the company, right? And then on top of that, and I won't read all the details. They talk about how they're going into a new chapter. They're, grateful for the trust as they're going through this transition. And I put the story out, but then I had a couple questions on it. I also saw the other media people put the story out the same as I did. He's leaving Grupo Turrent. That night, I get something back saying, well, he's not really leaving Grupo Turrent. He is taking a new role. He's not going to handle international sales anymore, which was not said. And look, it was not. We all had to go back and correct that, obviously. He's not. And then when I asked where he's going in the what he's going to be doing in the company, we don't know yet. So I thought it was a very unusual story. And I was talking to a few people who know Alejandro that afternoon, and they were all blindsided by, oh, he's leaving. This is, and I showed them the press release, even a copy of the press release, which was public, and they were all shocked. Well, I guess that wasn't really the case. So bizarre. It was a bizarre press release. Is
this a case of maybe we released the press release a little too early with minimal information? And it also makes what it sounds like is this. I feel like if this was a move within the company, you're not even printing this as a press release.
Yeah. And that's what my point is. This really, like, wouldn't you, like, you didn't have to make any announcement, right? It was bizarre. It was bizarre because one side of the coin could say it was look, the translation got lost when they wrote the press release. The other thing is maybe something was jumped. They jumped the gun on this. But what was interesting about this press release, they actually had a seal on the press release. So I knew it was authentic because there was a company seal on that thing.
Really?
So, but it was it was a very weird thing to happen this week. I can't put my finger on like what exactly happened. Like I said, I wasn't the only one. It wasn't like this was an ambiguous press release the way it was written. It was, he is done with his tenure with Grupo Torrent. So
well, could it be, Coop, that I'm just throwing possibilities out there, that there was maybe a falling out, and then and then all of a sudden it was like, let's kiss and make up type thing. You know what I mean?
Or was he unaware of the press release at the time? We don't know. Right?
I don't know.
Did everybody know but him?
I have a few theories. I don't want to throw. I have some things that may be going on that I don't know. I would be all speculating. Right. I would be all speculating on it. Maybe the easy one I could say is that Grupo Torrent isn't what we thought it was, right? So it may have been just representing the sales division. I do know Alejandro works with his father. His father's getting up there in age. So that's what surprised me too when I saw this. I'm like, well, why would he leave his father who's getting up there in age? And Alejandro really is one of the main guys there. So I had it. It was weird. It was very strange, this press release.
Interesting. Wonder if more details will be.
I like Alejandro. He's always been a good guy too. I've met him a few times. Good guy. I mean, like I said, this is the guy. If you see Mexican tobacco, it's from his family.
Right.
They are the monster. They are the powerhouse of Mexico.
That's where it's coming from.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Interesting story in itself. Yep. What else you got there, Cooper?
This is a story, kind of a two-part story. Last week there was a guy from Rocky Patel Premium Cigars named Max Bickler, who resigned as the national sales manager. He left the company. I found out. I learned some interesting things about Max. He actually competed on a show called The Amazing Race and finished second.
Really?
Yeah. And I actually remember him and his wife on it now because I did it. So I do remember that, but for some reason I didn't put the connection with Rocky Patel, and I should have, right? He resigned. Now the thing is significant about this is he also had a seat on the PCA board of directors. So typically when someone leaves the business, they give up the board seat. And that's what's happened here. Like when Alan Rubin sold Alec Bradley, he gave up his board seat. Now, the way it works is if they're appointing someone to finish up a term, they appoint someone to finish a term as opposed to having another election. So from what I understand, they offered the spot to George Rico of Gran Habano Cigars, who had ran for the board previously. And someone nominated that he should be appointed, and I guess the board approved it. So George Rico is now on the PCA board of directors.
Okay. All right.
George has been pretty active with the PCA. He sponsored one of the nights at one of the gathering places and stuff like that. So he has been active in the PCA. He's a quieter guy, so I'm kind of curious to see.
That was my curiosity, because George is kind of a quieter guy that probably holds his brand back a little bit because he makes good cigars. Yes, he's completely vertical. He's totally vertical, but it's just, and listen, he has his fun, and not like George is, some recluse or whatnot, but he's not Dion, but he's not quite out there as much as probably his brand could use.
Right.
Agree. He's been on like KMA and a bunch of our shows, and he's a very good interview actually when you get to talk to him, but he's very, very quiet. He's not active on social media a lot. And but like when you talk to him, he's a very, very smart guy, knows what he's doing. So
right.
I am curious. I think it was like I said, he's quieter. And sometimes you may need that quieter guy on the board.
That's what I was saying. Maybe that's a good move for a guy. He's not an out there social media guy, but he's he's got some. He's a smart guy, so maybe that's needed there. So it could be interesting.
Yep. So he'll be finishing up Max's term, which includes the end of 2027. So there we go with that. We finally have one last wrapper binder filler story. West Tampa Tobacco has announced they are shipping their Dark Time cigar. So this is a $29.99 cigar.
Really?
Yes. West Tampa is coming. It's a 6x54 Toro. Apparently, they rolled a bunch of cigars a few years ago. And then when they found out how much they were going to cost, they said, hey, can you guys hold on to these for a little while? Or we're going to, before we release them at the factory. So they did one last year called Belushi Boulevard, which was a 60, and now Dark Time falls into that same category as well. The thing that's in there is there's a cutter that looks like a Rolex watch almost that's in there. It's actually pretty cool. I've actually seen the cutter. Yeah, it's actually a nice cutter, actually. It's not a piece of junk.
Interesting.
They did announce the blend. They didn't announce the blend of PCA, but now the blend they're saying is a broadleaf wrapper over Sumatra binder and Dominican and Nicaraguan fillers. So I'm not. They're making it Noxa factory as well.
Cool. Do you have a picture of? I mean, sadly, I'm just going to say it. I'm a little more interested in the cutter than the cigars. Did you have a picture in your story? No. Okay, you have the box, but not the.
Yeah, and I had one at PCA, but the cutter picture came out bad. It was a very hard picture to photo with the glass they had there. I've seen the cutter.
Okay, but I got your PCA picture. It's a through the glass picture, but you can actually get a good look.
Yeah, it wasn't a good picture. I'll be honest.
Yeah, but you get a good. Listen, I know that
Terrence Riley quality.
Yeah, but I get it when they're making you take those photos through the glass. It's not always the easiest thing, but you can get a picture of that cutter. Yeah, it almost has like a Rolex Submariner look to it.
So if you look on the right of that, you can see there's a little like the little. I don't know what
the crown.
The little twist, when you used to wind the watch.
Yeah, that's the crown. That's the crown.
The crown. Okay, the crown. See, I'm not a watch guy.
Yeah.
So I think when you touch that or press that, it actually opens the cutter.
Oh, it opens up. Okay, that's kind of cool. It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool. I don't know if I'm,
Now I
spending $300 on a box of.
Listen, I think this is a very gutsy move by West Tampa coming out with a $30 cigar. I just don't think they're ready for $30.
No, cigar. I don't think they're there yet.
But
for me personally, they've missed on me. I mean, they're not.
They
kind of missed on me personally.
They all missed on me, except that Belushi Boulevard that they did was good. Oh, and the Circle of Life wasn't bad either. But so they do well on my website traffic wise. I got to say that when I put West Tampa content up, it does do well. So so people are interested in that cigar.
This is
the Attic was delicious. I like the Attic.
The Attic was a limited. Yeah, I haven't smoked the Devil Crab yet. I have it though.
I haven't tried that.
We have them at the shop.
Okay. Yeah, those little.
Yeah,
they look like
pigs.
I'm
gonna say it. I'll say it. They look like a pig. But it's okay. There's a lot of cigars that look like a flying pig. So
yeah, they do. Yeah.
There's quite a few. We can make that.
Yep.
All right.
That's your news for this week. We actually had some this week.
We had a little bit of news, some interesting news this week as well. Yeah. All right. Well, with that being said, I know we wanted to close out Tail of the Tape on Father's Day weekend, but with Abe not here and it being the number one pick, it would be a disservice to do it. So we are going to skip. We're going to skip Tail of the Tape Top TV Dads this week, and we will finish that up next week. And hey, by the way, guys, also post some. Look, it's this time. This is a tough time for us when we got to start thinking of the next season. If you got any ideas, post them. Actually, I think this TV Dads was a Sean Correa idea from the comments. So
it was.
So you got a shot of. You got a good idea. We will run with it. So post in the comments any ideas you have for next season's Tail of the Tape. But with that being said, we do have our friend Pedro to close out this show. So it is now time for Would You Rather? All right, gentlemen, I'm going to say this now. If you need me to play this again, I will play it again. I love Pedro, but this is a tough one. All right. Here we go.
Would you rather stay in your tourism resort or go and stay and eat where the locals go?
I definitely need that one played again.
Okay. All right. I'm going to play it again, and I think I understand the question.
Would you rather stay in your tourism resort or go and stay and eat where the locals go?
So I think the basis of the question is you're on vacation at a resort. Would you rather just spend your time, stay at the resort, eat the resort's food, do the whole resort thing, or venture out and get to some of the local spots? I think that is the
okay. I think that is too. Yeah, that's what I was
thinking. The tourist.
Love Pedro. That was a tough one. The closed caption on the videos didn't even do it justice. That's a good question. I think for me, it probably depends on where I am, right? Like I'm probably not going to the local spots if I'm on a resort in Mexico, right? I don't think I'm venturing out. I feel like it depends on the place, Yeah, that's tough. That's tough because, especially a lot of times part of, you pay resort money. That's all part of resort. Right. Do I really want to? But it depends on the place. Like if I'm in the States, yeah, probably, I feel safe. I think it's a safety factor for me. What about you guys?
I'm staying at the resort. So the answer is if I'm going to a resort, I'm going to the resort, and that's my primary reason.
For the resort, right.
Right. If I'm going on a touristy type of thing, then I'm going to go to a hotel, which is less amenities and types of things like that.
Yeah,
so I'm going to go to the resort.
I agree. I'm staying at the resort, but it's one of those things you could stay mainly at the resort, with the occasional venture in to do a recon mission to check the things out.
Right.
But then back to the resort. You know what I mean? So
and again, and I think in that situation, it depends on where I am too. Like I said, I don't know how far out I'm venturing in Mexico. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Right.
But yeah, that's a good point too. Like, if I part of my process of picking the resort, I looked at the restaurants in the resort. You know what I mean? I looked at the whole deal. So I'm probably, in that specific question, I'm going to a resort. Part of that I already probably established that I'll be eating at the resort. It's part of why I chose this resort over another one.
Right.
So, although took a little translation, it was actually a decent question.
It was a good one, yeah.
Very good.
Yeah, a lot of people say this the local spots, and I get that. That's always, you want to say that's the quick answer. But like I said, sometimes just because it's local doesn't mean it's good all the time. The resorts, especially, like I said, Coop made the distinction. It's not like I'm staying at a Holiday Inn and I'm doing the tourist thing. I went to a resort to be at a resort,
Right.
Make no mistake. If I'm paying and look, a resort is not cheap. And part of that is, they have good food to keep up with the resort. So yeah, interesting question though. Everybody loves the locals, but a lot of great meals at resorts and high-end, tourist restaurants. Including Pat's and Geno's at 5 a.m. Where else you getting a cheesesteak? Just throwing that out there.
Yeah, exactly. And Pat's and Geno's, what people say, well, it's not the best. Find me a better place at midnight to get a quality like that.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Right. When's the last time when you want a cheesesteak on Christmas morning? Where are you going?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm going to Pat's or Geno's.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm actually going to Federal Pretzels at 5 a.m. and getting a pretzel and then going to get a cheesesteak. But you don't know about that. That's a whole different thing. Anyway, with that being said, folks, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for hanging out with us. We hope we made you laugh a little bit. Hope we gave you a good start to your Saturday. In the meantime, as always, we'll catch you guys next week. Actually, before I leave, Coop, what do you got going on this week? Obviously, you got a big one going on Sunday. We want to mention that again.
Yeah, I'm gonna chill. I'm gonna chill around the house this weekend, probably for sure.
What do you got? What do you got on the air? What do you got on the internet this week? Where can we find you? You got the big Sunday show.
Yeah. Go to Let's Get Pairing Facebook page, and then followed by LL Fumar's Facebook page, and there'll be an announcement on the Scar Coop website where you can click on that as well.
And you guys will be running essentially from 8 o'clock till midnight or better, huh?
Oh, that's gonna go at least. I mean,
it's a late one. It's a late one.
Yeah, that's gonna be a late one. I don't know if we'll finish it, but I may have a curfew or two on that one before I turn it.
Right. So, ladies and gentlemen, that means if by chance any of you are off on Monday and you're hanging out smoking at 1, 2 a.m., you guys can join Coop Bear and the crew and see how they're doing on that.
And look, don't like I tell people, you can always catch a replay of it, so don't.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yep.
Johnny, what do you got this week?
All right. What we got coming up, everybody knows on Johnny Smokes Uncut on Facebook and Instagram. Get over there, like, share, subscribe. Our guest this Thursday, because it is the month of Espinoza, #JSU Knuckle. And our guest this upcoming Thursday is the man himself, Hector Alfonso, is going to be our guest.
Oh, nice.
Looking forward to that. That is always... I'd say one of our biggest people jump on. We just had Raphael. He always kills it. And we did have Eric on. And now we got Hector coming up.
Cool. Are you always on a show on Sundays or no?
No, this is Bear and Trip do it. So I normally don't do Sunday.
Right. It's
yeah.
Johnny, I'm just going to make a suggestion. At some point, when you do another one of those sports talk shows that we have on a Sunday, it was nice. It was I would love to get Coop and Hector in one because they're two great sports guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Like the last time we did it, we definitely had a great show. You were on. Coop, I did think I sent you an invite. I'll do it again. I think I sent.
I know sometimes Sunday nights are tough, but if you schedule,
I'll
definitely do it. I may have missed it sometimes too. But
no, not a problem. Yeah, I'll throw it out there because
absolutely.
A lot of stuff coming up, so I'll definitely throw it out there.
Okay, yeah, awesome. Yeah, I'd love to. Yeah,
absolutely. All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, we're getting the hell out of here. We're going to enjoy our Father's Day weekend. We hope you do the same. In the meantime, we'll see you guys next week. Keep it lit. We are out of